Okay, I've opened up inline.html in a web browser and also in Notepad. So let's take a look at, notice we have a heading here, and notice the color of the background. And notice here that the background is the color of this text in the header, and the paragraph itself is in the color that's associated with the body tag. So let's take a look at doing an inline style. So notice I put my body HTML statement. I go ahead and tell what style I want to use. Now inside the double quotes, notice that the whole thing's in double quotes, specify the background color, and then I specify the color of the text that goes with it. Likewise, I have an H1. Again, I put style, I put background color, and here the colors are flopped. So you can see in the HTML file, the background is that aqua green, and in the body, the text is that color. So this is an example of a inline style. Notice the paragraph. It inherits the style of the body tag because it's enclosed in the body tag, and the body tag applies to everything inside of it. Okay, the next file I've opened up is inline P. This shows how we have a paragraph and how we can inherit it from the body just like before, but also how we can override it here. So the only difference on this one is that in this paragraph I chose a style and I chose my own color. Alright, so the color is chosen here, and this overrides the paragraph color for this particular paragraph only. Now the problem with all the inline styles is you have to keep repeating this every time you want to do a tag and you want to change something. So what we're going to do is we're going to look how we can apply it to the whole page, and then we'll look at how we make it external and apply it to many pages. So I'm going to go ahead and open up another file. Okay, the next page I open up is embed. Here inside of the head section I go ahead and create my style. So notice I specify the body tag. Notice it doesn't have the less than or greater than symbol around it because it's a style. I go ahead and set the background color to this light bluish, and then set the background color to very little blue in this text. So I open the style and I close the style and I put in the tags I want to change in here, and it applies to everything inside of this body tag down here. So H1 and P, both of those have the background color and color of this. So that's why the whole page has this background color. So I'm going to go ahead and open up another embed file. Let's take a look at a more extensive example. Here we use an embedded style again, but here we not only change the body, change the H1 headers, the H2 headers, the paragraph, and our unordered list. So for each one we set appropriate assets for that particular tag. So for the body we set the background color, the color of the text, and the font family. Remember, the font family, it looks for Arial first. If it's not on the system, then it looks for the next one. If that's not on the system, then it'll look for the third one. And usually on the third one there's the default there that every system would have. Same thing with H1. We look for the font family Georgia. If that's not the case, then we look for Times Roman. And now notice, since there's spaces in that one, we got to include that one inside quotes. And then we do serif. And here we have a text shadow for H1 headers. All right. H2, notice here we text align center, so when we do our header 2s, they are aligned in the center here. So notice it makes it a lot easier to write the code. I don't have to repeat this H2. If I did it in inline, I would have to repeat that code here, and I would have to repeat it here too. So it makes it shorter to do it this way. So this is another example of using embedded style sheet in a particular page. Okay, we've added a few other ones to this particular example. Here's an embed 3. So we have the nav element. Notice we'll make it bold, a little bit bigger. We have a feature. Notice it has a dot in front of it. It gives a color for that. Remember, it's going to be red, green, and blue, so it's going to be a red color. And then I have the footer here. Font size makes it a little bit smaller. And font italic. So when we come down here, notice in our list we have two red colors here, here, and here. And to get to that, inside the HTML element, we write class equals feature. And we can repeat it as many times as we want because it uses the dot to describe that class name. So each class name should have a dot in front of it, but when you use it, there's no dot. Notice there's no dot here, the stuff that's inside of the double quotes. So this is embed 3. Okay, in the embed 4 file, the only difference here is we define a class for company. So this is, we're going to use a company. So with the inside of a text of a paragraph, we're going to use the span class. Not going to add any extra spaces, but allows us to define something new. In this case, we're going to use the class company from up here, and then we're going to use it on that title. Right? So notice that this class name represents what this represents, namely company name. So notice here the company name is bold and uses one of the other fonts, and it's a little bit bigger than the rest of the text because we said 1.25. So it's 25% bigger than the rest of the text here. So that is embed 4. Okay, now in this example I'm using an external style sheet. So this is the code for external.html. Notice to make an external reference, I issue this command inside the head section of the HTML document. So I got link rel equals, and then double quote style sheet, href equals, and then the name of the file that I want to use for my style sheet. And notice I have color.css. So this is the color.css file. Notice I have body, background color. So notice I have the highest intensity blue, and the color here is white for the text. So I'll get white text on a blue background I can have on my system. So this is part 1 of style sheets.